What is the strangest thing that happened to you that you can't logically explain? By Ask Reddit. As a child visiting my grandma's house, my mum, whenever I left the house I'd wave next door to Ken, who was always sat in the bay window looking out at the sea. They lived right on the coast off the North Sea in Hartlepool, UK. We'd never really talk, but just a little wave before I went to get into the car. One time I'm leaving my gran's house, I'm in front of my mum, who stopped at the door to talk to my gran. So I head down the steps and towards the gate. I turn back and see Ken in the window. Big smile as usual, waving at me. I give him a wave back. He stands up, gives me the thumbs up, and wanders towards the back of the room. My mum comes walking down the steps and asks, "Who are you waving at?" I replied, "Ken." To this day, I can remember my mam's face. She just went white, but didn't say anything to me. It was only a few weeks later when she plucked up the courage to tell me that Ken had died a few days prior to our visit to my gran's. I don't believe in ghosts, but I know I saw him. I can still picture his striped gray sweater with light stripes across it. Him waving and getting up out of his chair. There was no one else in the house, he lived by himself. Brains are weird.
I 100% believe you. My cousin's daughter, 4 years old maybe, says she talks to our dead grandpa all the time. One time my cousin caught her singing along to my grandpa's favorite song, giggling and running around the room. She asked her what she was doing and she said, "I'm playing with Tata and he's teaching me a song." She got so spooked because there's no way her daughter could have heard it anywhere, as my cousin doesn't like to listen to it because the song reminds her of him and it makes her sad. It's also an old tango that you have to actively search on the internet to find. There are other things about her kid that are straight up weird and everyone is convinced she's a medium or something.
When I was about 12 years old, I went up to Lake Tahoe with my friend and his parents, who had a condo in Incline Village. One day, the two of us are walking to the bowling alley and cross a street in a crosswalk. Right before we get to the curb, a car comes really close to hitting us. All of a sudden, we're both up on the curb, like we were lifted a few feet. We both looked at each other strangely. "Did you jump?" "No, did you?" "No." We spent the next hour kind of dumbfounded. It didn't feel like a shove or any use of force. We were still in the street, then we weren't.
Grim Reaper was like, "Oh, poo wrong guys."
When I was 10 years old, I didn't want to go to school one day. I faked a stomach ache so my grandmother would let me stay home. I've always been a bad liar, so my GMA tried to call my bluff. She told me if I was too sick for school then she would be scheduling me a DRS appointment. 3 hours later I was rushed into emergency surgery. My fake illness was actually appendicitis, and it was so inflamed that if I hadn't come in that day my appendix would have ruptured, potentially killing me. I felt 100% fine that day. Faking sick saved my life.
Apparently, a feeling of dread is a common symptom of things like organ failure and life-threatening illness. Maybe your lack of interest in going to school was from that.
I once was changing pants in my room before work and took off my belt. After putting on my other pair of pants, I went to put my belt back on, but it belt was gone. No one else was in the room and I spent a good 10 minutes looking for it, as I had simply set it on the floor. It's been 10 years and I've never seen that belt again.
You should have asked your mom to find it.
I'm a firefighter and we got a call for an overdose around 3 a.m. to a rough part of our district in the middle of winter. Unfortunately, the patient was long gone and her dealer or whatever found her like that when he dropped some stuff. As we were packing up our stuff, mind you this is a absolutely trashed mobile home, I hear something down the hall that said lights. I ask my partner if he said anything, as it was just him and I cleaning up. He said no. I walk to the far end of the trailer where I heard it and shine my flashlight. I get a reflection out of the window. They have a small tool shed and it had a flickering light. It piqued my interest, so my partner and I go out there. We hear crying and notice the door is padlocked. We cut it, and this little 6-year-old girl was in there. She said her mom puts her in there when she gets mad at her. She said she got scared when she heard the sirens and didn't know what to do. To this day I have no idea what happened or where the voice came from, but I'll take the win on it. Edit. A couple people wondering about what happened after. My partner and I took her to the children's hospital closest to us and we wrote our report and ate chips and a sandwich we took from the lounge while they called a social worker. She was a really sweet girl. The voice was not a little girl voice. I 100% thought it was my partner since it sounded like a guy. Edit 2. Sorry for using peaked. I was between calls at work pretty early in the morning and grammar is not my defining character of mine. Thanks for reading. Hug your kiddos a little tighter tonight.
How horrible for that poor girl. I hope she's in a better family situation now.
I once shut my ear in a car door. No idea how, have tried to recreate it and can't, but my god that hurt.
You deserve something for this.
A football helmet to prevent it from happening again. Edit wow, this exploded. Thank you everyone.
I hit a patch of black ice in the dark going 60 miles per hour down the highway. At the time, I drove a 1-ton cargo van. It hit the guardrail and flipped. Not only did I walk away without a scratch, the car was drivable and I was only 30 minutes late to work. Edit, a word.
Do a barrel roll.
Cool flip bro.
One morning I woke up and noticed my camera was on top of the sofa opposite my bed. I knew I didn't put it there because it was a very expensive camera and it could very easily fall from this place. I had placed it in my cabinet. I went over, picked it up, and turned it on and clicked the button to view photos. There were hundreds of photos of me sleeping, all seemingly taken from the back of the sofa. I was literally so freaked out, I couldn't stop crying. I lived alone. It was just photo after photo of me sleeping. The photos were taken in quick snap, where the camera takes approx 1 photo per second. I later realized the camera didn't even have a quick snap setting, so technically it was impossible for the camera to take the photos at all. The timestamps suggest all photos were taken between 2 and 3 AM. I've never figured out WTF happened, how the camera got to the sofa, or how it is even possible for a camera with no quick snap to quick snap. But I still have a USB with the photos on it and it still freaks me the F out. Edit, to answer a few questions. I am safe. This happened several years ago. I now live with my partner and we have several dogs and a very good home security system. There was no sign of forced entry to my home. I owned the home, and I had the locks changed when I moved there because I felt uneasy about living alone. Good hunch, haha. I did go to the police. They did not give a poo. They said it's probably a friend playing a prank. My mum had a key to the house. Weirdly, this thread has actually jogged my memory about something potentially related I had completely forgotten about that was sitting deep down in my memory bank. Approx 12 months before the camera incident, I received a letter in my PO box that was typed, not handwritten, and addressed directly to me saying if I did not agree to meet with the sender, they would kill me while I sleep. To be honest, I dead set thought it was a stupid joke because I couldn't think of anybody that would want me to meet with them, and I binned the letter and never told anybody. I got 3 or 4 of those threatening letters demanding that I respond, but no actual way of responding or no hint about who it was from. The sender wrote like I should know who it is, but I did not. One letter did provide a time and place to meet, but of course I did not attend. That was the final letter. I did move house and change my postal address shortly after the camera incident though. I am alive right now, so obviously they are all talk, no action, haha.
This is the most terrifying post I've read on this thread. OP, please consider getting a roommate, or at least a dog.
Or 15 dogs. And a gun. And consider burning that goddamned camera.
There's no other explanation than someone who had access to your home, knew your sleeping patterns and did this on purpose. There have been incidents where stalkers record their victims or set up a similar situation to see how far they can go without getting caught. A stalker may be someone you know, or it may be someone you never spoke to. Both types of cases happen. There are more things you can do as far as self-defense goes, like getting a taser, gun training, or even pepper spray, a bright flashlight within arm's reach. But, Using them takes time and training. The best thing is being aware of how secure any entrance to your home is. Also check the metadata of the photos, it should tell you how they were taken, possibly give you some insight. By any chance if this happened recently there may still be fingerprints. Stay safe, please be careful.